What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA show. We are back. Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving week. It's Thanksgiving week, but we're not taking the week off. That's right. That never happens. Whether it's Christmas week, Thanksgiving week, New Year's, whatever. We're always going to be here, always doing our thing. Why? Because we love the sport. We love to talk about it, and we love to chop it up. So we are back. Thank you guys so much as you make your way in and trickle in. But man, we got some fun stuff to talk about. As I've said about 100 times this year, the MMA world, in my opinion, is on fire. UFC is on fire. MGAL4 Production says, "Sup, guys?" And we got to start right off at the top. I know Justin's got his wrestling thing, so we're just going to get right into the mix because we got to talk about UFC Qatar. First of all, overall, people are saying like the UFC Qatar was one of the best fight nights of all time. What's your take?
Oh, incredible fight night, man. To put a co-main and a main event that have so many title implications on the line on one card. Yeah, I mean you got four guys. Dan Hooker, obviously a fan favorite. Arman Tsarukyan. I mean, he obviously has a lot of fans. He has like 2.5 million followers on Instagram, but just a stellar fighter. Then you go to Belal, who everybody hates. Then you have Ian Garry, who everybody hates, but they wanted to see win, and just with so many title implications, I thought it was a great night.
Man, I really loved it. We also have to talk about Salsa Boy's crazy finish, and that was unbelievable. We got a lot of great implications that come out of the entire event. Obviously, I picked Ian and Arman says MGAL4 Productions. You were right. Let's go. Dan Hooker Moicano should be next. I've heard about that fight, and I've heard people talking about it. That'd be a great fight. But we also even had some drama. I didn't put it on the topic list, but we saw Khamzat Chimaev push Ian Garry pretty hard, and I've actually looked into that and wondering what the heck was going on there. But it just comes down to, I think, a miscommunication. Ian Garry slapped Khamzat really hard on the back. He did it in a friendly way. Khamzat misinterpreted it, or maybe didn't misinterpret it. I think in their culture, it's a sign of disrespect. So he turned around, he squared up. Ian thought it was all good, and then Khamzat shoved him, and that's all she wrote. So nothing too crazy to get into there. Yeah, Chimaev would absolutely ragdoll Ian Garry. Ian even said something along those lines. He's like, "Would I move up and fight Khamzat at middleweight?" He's like, "Man, I look at those guys and they're so big." So I don't think he wants to move up anytime soon. Tehran, I so agree. I made a video yesterday about this. Topuria should fight Arman Tsarukyan next, and we're going to get into all of this. But first, let's start at the top. Let's talk about Arman's performance. Justin, let me turn it over to you, and you can give us your breakdown and your analysis of this fight and what you saw from Arman Tsarukyan.
I mean, Arman Tsarukyan just kind of, did exactly what everyone anticipated him to do. He just was dominant all over. In my pick, I took Dan Hooker just because he was an old vet, had some tricks up his sleeve, has an incredible guillotine. As we discussed over the phone, he went for his guillotine choke a couple times, which I anticipated. And I took him as a huge dog, hoping that he could come through. I mean, it looked like he had one of those guillotines in there relatively tight at one point or another, where Arman Tsarukyan was able to evade and stay out, not tap out. But I mean, he did exactly what the odds maker said he was going to do. He did exactly what most people thought he was going to do. I mean, unfortunately, Dan Hooker, he's been in the UFC since 2014. He's really just become a journeyman of the sport. And as much as I'm a fan of him, he was outclassed from top to bottom at this fight night.
So you mentioned outclassed from top to bottom. There's a couple things that I want to ask your opinion, your obviously expert opinion on. Professional fighter, 80 fights, and the sport backwards and forwards, coach at Extreme Couture. There was one thing that Arman did that everybody's talking about. That's when I think he was in the first or second guillotine. I don't remember which. And instead of just trying to work his head out as most people normally do in a guillotine, he did this crazy like spin while he was on the ground. You know what I'm talking about?
Believe it or not, it's not. It's so. So you have your levels of defense, all right? So when someone slaps on a guillotine, first thing you need to do is, and this sounds contrary to what you would think, you need to expose your neck, all right? By
Hmm.
exposing your neck, you're taking pressure off the choke. And if anybody wants to argue with this is stupid. I am a expert at guillotines. It's my best move. I know everything about a guillotine, almost inside and out. Very rarely do I even come across somebody that can show me something new with the guillotine. So if anybody says I'm wrong, you're fucking stupid. All right. First things first, fight the hand. Second, expose your neck. Again, sounds counterintuitive, but it's the correct thing. Now, when a guillotine's in tight and you can't fight the hands, you can't expose your neck anymore, you can't get your arm around the neck. The next thing is you roll to your back, and you hope that people bail on it. Once you roll to your back, we call it a gator roll out. But that tells me that how close Dan Hooker was to getting his guillotine, and Dan Hooker
Oh.
has a world class guillotine. And when guys roll when you get guillotine and you roll to your back, that's like your last ditch effort. Is oh shit, Plan A doesn't work. Plan B doesn't work. All right, let's roll to our back and hope we can get out. And that's what Arman Tsarukyan did. So in my mind, Dan Hooker was pretty close to getting that guillotine.
Oh my God,
And
that's
again,
even that's crazy.
people can argue with me all they
Yeah.
want. I don't care about their opinion. When you're close to a guillotine, it's called giving up position. He has to give up position, and that's exactly what he did to evade the choke, and that's what he did. And there's nobody that is going to convince me otherwise.
Dude, that's so crazy to think because it never really even looked like Arman was in danger. So maybe he was in a bit more danger than we thought, but that's pretty wild. Now, you mentioned that Arman Tsarukyan beat Dan in every which way. The one thing that I was really surprised about is, dude, Arman's strike. I think he outstruck Dan Hooker like crazy. Can you talk about his striking, especially his kicks? When I was watching his kicks, the way he turns his hip over when he throws a roundhouse, that was one of the fastest kicks I've ever seen. What was your take on his striking?
Super fast, super efficient. I mean, there's levels to this game, and obviously looking at Dan Hooker's face after the fight, and it was funny because after the fight, Dan is, they're squared up, they're about to call it the winner. Dan's looking up at the screen above him, and he's almost admiring the damage that he's taken on his face. When you look at Arman Tsarukyan, essentially took no damage. It was pretty incredible.
No, it's great, dude. How good is Arman? How good is Arman in the lightweight division right now?
He's great. He deserves his next title shot. People are saying that Ilya is ducking him. I don't think Ilya is ducking him. I think that Ilya just wants he wants to fight the legend, and that's Ilya, or not Ilya, or yeah, Ilya. He wants to fight Islam next, in case something happens. I think Arman is good enough. I am concerned about his weight, though. It looked like you made a video. Did he really make 156? And that whole extra pound of making championship weight is way different, way tougher. He's missed it before. Dana White came out and said in a post conference that he did miss weight. So I am concerned about that.
Western
But I do
says
think from a skill stance that he's next.
Okay, awesome. And I want to talk about that too. Tehran says Arman is going to beat. I think Arman's going to beat Topuria too. I think it's actually a very high likelihood. If Ilya's favored in that fight, I am. Actually, I'll probably put money on Arman anyways, just for fun, because I don't see, especially with the kicks, the well-rounded grappling game. I mean, what Ilya's chances to get inside and use his boxing, but I don't even know if he'll get inside. I don't know if Arman would let him get inside, or if and I think Arman's wrestling, I imagine, is going to be superior to Ilya's. But man, I can't wait to see that matchup. They got to do it soon. Now, Ilya, apparently, the things that I've been hearing through the grapevine, I don't know how true this is, but apparently Ilya is not going to be fighting until March or April. Something's going on with Ilya. So I really wonder how the landscape is going to shake out. But do you agree? Because the UFC and people are still set, there's still murmurings of Paddy versus Ilya first before Arman fighting. After this performance from Arman, what would you think about that if they did do Ilya Paddy first and then gave Arman the winner of that?
I think that's silly. I think Paddy's done some incredible things in the MMA world, but I just don't think that he's deserving of a title fight yet. I think if Ilya's injured, they should do Arman and Paddy. And if Ilya can't fight until March, that's so much time. And I hate when these champs, they win their belt and they take so much time off, and it's just out of sight, out of mind, and they're fighting for contendership, and guys win and guys lose, and there's just so many unanswered questions. And having Paddy up next, I think is kind of silly. But if Ilya can't fight until March, I think they should do Arman and Paddy, and the winner of that gets the title fight.
Or Justin and Paddy. I think Justin and Paddy could be a great one. Now, originally, when I thought
that'd be good too.
When I thought the title fight was happening in January, what I said I would would be, hey, let's do Arman Ilya, because Arman's performance was just too, you just can't write it off. And plus it's going to be a very competitive fight. And like Tehran said, which I think Arman wins that fight. I really do. But you have that fight there. And then if they can convince Justin Gaethje to take the Paddy fight, you do that as the co-main. We have a stacked lightweight card, just like we had that stacked welterweight card. Like, how much fun was that, where we got to see so many things within a span of, actually, if you even include this week, within a span of 2 weeks, like so many things happened simultaneously in the welterweight division that brings a lot of clarity to such a crazy and complex division. So something like that for lightweight would be awesome. Now, the problem is it does sound like Ilya's injured, so I don't know if we'll get that, but maybe all those fights will happen later in March or April, whenever that goes down. But regardless, incredible fight. Is there anything that I think we may have lost Justin, but maybe he's still there. Justin, is there anything that you want to share about Dan Hooker that you thought he did do really well? All right, I think we may have lost Justin while he...
he has a great game.
Go ahead.
He went for that great...
Yep, Justin, go ahead.
I don't know if it's mine or yours, but your voice is like you sound like a mouse right now. Let me close out and restart.
Yeah, close out and restart. We'll come back in. While you do that, I'm going to read some comments that I've missed. So, MGAL4 Productions was talking about Dan Hooker versus Moicano. Yeah, Waldo Cortez, a.k.a. Salsa Boy. Let's go. He's the GOAT. I'm willing to bet UFC is going to protect Topuria from Arman. I hope they don't do that. I hope they don't. Dude, Arman's actually a star. You know, I actually think he's a star with his like food videos, and his fight style is crazy. The way he got that finish was super exciting. I think Arman is definitely a star, and I would love to see Arman get in there. So if they protect Topuria from Arman, I'm going to be very, very disappointed. But I could see that happening, I guess, if what you're trying to say is, hey, maybe they set him up versus Patty, and then they try and get him on the White House card versus Islam, even though that's a fight that I'm not interested in. I don't want to see Topuria going up to welterweight is a farce. It's nonsense because can you even imagine? It doesn't make sense. Imagine Topuria fighting Michael Morales. Imagine Topuria fighting Ian Garry. Imagine Topuria fighting Shavkat. It's just hilarious to me. Now, maybe I'm so crazy and I'm so wrong. Like maybe Topuria has a shot and I'm crazy, but like to me, that's a ludicrous matchup. Topuria is like 5'5", and you have him going against Ian Garry with the crazy kicks that he was throwing at Belal. I mean, literally, he can throw those oblique kicks. I feel like I can break his leg or kick him straight up in the head without Ilya even getting anywhere close to being in range. So to me, that's a farce, but I guess we shall see what the UFC says. Arman's submission defense is insane. Western, what's up? What's up? And Western says, if Arman beats Ilya, what will Ilya do? I don't know. I mean, maybe Ilya will fight Gaethje or fight, whatever happens. I mean, I don't know, but Ilya, he'll just go back to being a contender. Toronto says, I seen Alex versus Carlos. What? Is that real? Oh, they're doing Alex versus Carlos Ulberg. Yo, that's dope. That's going to be a crazy kickboxing match. So can't wait for that. Justin, we lost you again. So see if maybe you can rejoin. Not sure what's going on. Okay.
You're back. I closed out. It's just the volume was very scratchy. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah, but your video's off. Maybe you can close out and join again. I'm going to move on to the next fight here. We're going to go to Ian Garry versus Belal. Ian destroys Belal, and he really did. Man, this fight, I really enjoyed it, and I was a big fan of Ian Garry's strategy and the way that he approached this fight. A lot of those kicks were landing very heavy. He had one of those low calf kicks that spun Belal around. It was so powerful. But the thing that was most impressive to me were the teeps as well as those oblique kicks. The way it was so interesting. I've seen people do this in sparring, but he's like throwing his front foot and not like kicking it straight, but like angling the foot at a 45-degree angle. I think that gives you more surface area to try and connect like right above the knee or right on the knee. And he was just beating up Belal's legs very, very badly. So I'm curious to know what Belal's legs are like. What's the state of them? What's the state of his knees after taking all those shots? But again, I just thought that Ian Garry had a very, very smart game plan. Number one. Number two, his takedown defense was phenomenal. So, I mean, this guy is so well-rounded. Now, how does that going to translate if he does get that Islam fight? I thought he gave a great promo, and I actually would love to see Ian Garry go in and fight Islam. But do I think that means Islam's not going to be able to take him down? No. And I said that when JDM had pretty good success against Belal, everybody's saying, oh my God, he's going to be able to fight the takedowns. People were picking him to beat Islam. I vehemently disagreed, and we saw what happened. I think it's going to be a similar thing. I think Islam is definitely going to get Ian to the ground. He's definitely going to have his way with him. Now, do I think it's a open and shut victory for Islam? No, not necessarily. I do think Ian's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. I think he's a better striker than JDM. I think he's faster. I think he's more intelligent. I think he's got a way bigger diversity of strikes than I think does JDM. So I think Ian Garry would give Islam a lot of problems, although I do think Islam would ultimately get the victory. Justin, let me turn over to you. Tell us your thoughts about the Ian Garry versus Belal Muhammad fight.
You know, I really enjoyed the fight. Ian Garry did kind of like what he thought he was going to do. He's been working on his wrestling. He's been working on his grappling, his takedown defense. Incredible. Obviously, Belal not being able to get him down one time through and through on the fight. But I think what really led to Belal's demise is the fan base and Belal getting away from what he's good at. You saw it against JDM. Oh, I'm going to strike with this boxer. And he did the same thing with Ian Garry. Oh, I'm going to take him down and let him up. I don't think he's focused on his wrestling and his grappling anymore. I think he became focused with striking. And I really think it led to his demise in the division.
Man, it's kind of a shame, though. You know, one thing I do want to give Belal a ton of credit for is he just seemed like tough as nails. Like he would not back down. I mean, I know some people who are maybe they don't like the Belal, maybe they're defending Ian Garry. I don't know. They're saying, oh, it was only one eye poke, and the second one wasn't really an eye poke. It was really a knuckle. But I actually disagree, because not only was it those two eye pokes where time was stopped, but there was also a third eye poke. I don't know if you remember this, but in round one, he said something to Ian, but he didn't call the ref over. He pointed at him, and he pointed to his eye. So I'm pretty sure you could say in the range of 2 to 3. If you want to count that last one as not a real eye poke, but I think he got eye poked before, and the issue was that the ref didn't see it and didn't step in. So I want to give full credit to Belal Muhammad, because I think he showed that he is tough as nails. He was not going to give up from any of the eye pokes, and it really sucks for Belal, because this guy, man, he said in a interview earlier that he had. I'm going to put Justin out again. I think he's having some connection difficulties. And Louisa, can you text Justin and see if he can move to a new location? Because I think it's his Wi-Fi, so maybe he needs to get a new position. All right, he's back in here. But anyways, all right, cool. I was just going to ask you to start moving. I can't hear you. But yeah, see if you can move to a spot with better Wi-Fi. Anyways, so yeah, I just want to give Belal a ton of credit here, because he just was not stopping. He kept coming forward, kept trying to put the pressure on Belal, on Ian Garry, and kept trying to fight. He stayed in there. So major credit to him, and made for a very exciting fight. I just think he should get his flowers. I know Justin talks about how a lot of people dislike Belal, and I've actually turned around on Belal. I actually really do appreciate him now, and I do like his fight style. I think his fight style, yes, maybe he's not getting knockouts, but he fights aggressive, he fights hard, and as you could see, he does not back down. After multiple eye pokes, having to deal with, I think he said 3 different eye surgeries. He's had a lot of eye problems, but there's no quit in this guy, and so it is what it is, and I thought it was amazing. Justin, I don't know. I think we still can't hear you. You might have to log off and log back on one more time, because I think your audio is still messed up. But log back off and log back on one more time. And then I want to hear your thoughts on, what could be next for Belal and what could be next for Ian Garry. So I'm going to remove you here. And I want to talk about Belal first. So it's really unfortunate. He's had some tough fights. He went in there, unfortunately, got beaten by what's it called, JDM, as we all know. Now he's gone out and he's lost this second fight here. But let me see if I can add Justin back in. I'm going to try one more time. Oh, no, still out. And had this really, really tough matchup. I think Ian Garry is one of the best fighters in the welterweight division, so no shame there. What would I like to see next for Belal? Okay, so the thing is, right, he's still at the top. I don't know where he's going to drop to tomorrow in the rankings, but he's still at the top. He was number 1, maybe got dropped down to number 2. Whatever, let's say he goes into number 5 or something like that. He's still up there in the mix. And all right, Justin, I think we can hear you now, so we're good. I'm just talking about what I think should be next for Belal. So Belal is still in the mix, still at the top of the welterweight division. What I think would be interesting for him coming up next, I think will be a matchup against Kamaru Usman. I know Kamaru Usman. Hey, there's some weird noises I'm hearing from you, Justin. There's like a crackling. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I hear that too. Yeah, I hear that too.
Okay, I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna have to pop you off and maybe try one more time and let's see what happens. I don't know what's going. Maybe it's something issue with your phone. Try one more time. Anyways, I'd like to see him fight Kamaru Usman. I know that Usman is trying to campaign for a title shot. I think after Ian Garry's phenomenal victory, I think there's no question that Ian Garry is probably going to be next. I just don't think Kamaru's going to get it unless Ian has some sort of injury, unless there's something that's going to keep him out of having a quick turnaround to not quick turnaround, doesn't have to be that quick, but unless there's something preventing him timing wise, or if Islam needs more time and Kamaru's available and Ian is not, right? Maybe I could see Kamaru potentially sliding in there, but I think what's going to happen is they're going to make this matchup with Ian Garry versus Islam Makhachev. Let's make the Belal Usman fight. It's a great fight. It's great. Kamaru had things to say about Belal. I think he put out like the yawn emoji or something like that. Dude, let's see it. These are 2 OGs, 2 former champs. It's a great fight. It's a star-studded fight. It's got beef. It's got history. I mean, I think that's a huge fight. 100% main event of a UFC fight night. Or like a huge fight on a numbered card too. I mean, whatever they want to do, but I think that would be a great fight. Chuggins, hey big boy, what's up? What's up? Back to you, my friend. And Tehran says, oh yeah, Usman too. He's also a tough fight for Islam at 170. I mean, I think Usman would be a tough fight and an interesting fight for Islam. I agree, but I think at this point with Belal's loss, let him fight Usman. Usman gets that victory, he can slot right in for a title shot, no questions asked. Like, that would be a guarantee, but I'd like to see that fight. Up next for Ian Garry, I think it's got to be Islam. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Chime in the comments. I want to know what Justin has to think as well. Justin, I was just saying, for Belal next, I want to see Belal versus Usman. What do you think? Do you think that's a good matchup for Belal going forward?
Yeah, I think it's a great matchup. Belal's lost now 2 in a row. He has to go back to the drawing board. I think it's a winnable fight. Kamaru Usman, obviously one of the best, best to ever do it. Obviously falling off later in his career. But I think that's the fight to make. We had 2 guys that are coming off some losses. Kamaru Usman is tough as nails. Belal. And I'd love to see Kamaru Usman beat Belal and just kind of like put him out of the talk. I don't know. I just don't like talking about him. His interviews are super cringy. I'm sure Belal's going to come in. I'm going to outbox Kamaru Usman, I'm gonna knock him out, blah blah blah, and man hasn't finished anybody in his life. It seems like.
Yeah.
I mean, out of 24 wins, he has 6 finishes. I mean, that's crazy to me.
I'm really curious to see how that, like, it's a fascinating matchup though, right? Like, will one's wrestling conquer the others? Will it just nullify each other? Will they have a striking match? Will they have Canelo hands? There's gonna be so much smack talk. And then we've got that podcast episode where apparently they got into a fight and they never released it. Maybe then they release it as a promotional tool for the fight. I don't know if they want to or don't want to. I know what's it called? Belal was basically alluding to the fact that Kamaru Usman cried. I'm sure that's an exaggeration, but they got some really good stuff here. It's a big fight for 2 OGs of the game. I think it makes the most sense. And now for Ian Garry, do you think it's undeniable at this point that Ian Garry's got to get the title shot against Islam, or would you rather see? It can't be processed at this point, but would you still rather see Shavkat, or would you still rather see maybe Morales, which I think Ian Garry definitely should get it over Morales. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think Ian Garry deserves it now. If you guys took my take last week, I thought Shavkat should be next, 18-0, or he's 19-0 with 18 finishes. Beating Ian Garry. But the thing is, since then, Ian Garry's been staying active. He has 2 wins against, he beat Carlos Prates. He beat former champion Belal.
Yes.
I think he's next. Shavkat, unfortunately, has been dealing with some injuries. He's been sitting on the sideline since December of last year. So we're approaching a year layoff while Ian Garry has stayed active. He's beat some incredible people, including the former champ this past weekend. I think it's undeniable Ian Garry should be next.
Woo! I like that.
And it's a great fight. We can, if Ian beats Islam, we have a great rematch coming up with Shavkat versus Ian, or Islam beats him, and it's undeniable that Shavkat should be next with 19 wins, 18 finishes.
Tehran says Shavkat versus Islam is the fight I want to see. I don't know. I mean, I want to see both, but I think I'd rather see Ian Garry. Ian Garry's such a tricky guy, such a high fight IQ. So I'm really curious to see the type of game plan that he comes up with in terms of trying to deal with Islam. But yeah, I do think ultimately Islam's going to get it. And then if Islam gets it, then we can have Shavkat next. We can see how Islam does against Michael Morales. I mean, dude, again, as I mentioned, I said multiple times, and so did Justin, the welterweight division is on fire. It is insane. So let's see what goes down there. Okay, now we got to move on to Salsa Boy. Salsa Boy, the new GOAT of the heavyweight division. And on top of that, what's that? Oh, on top of that, I got to show you something. Justin, did you see? Hold on, let me show you guys this. This is so funny. Did you see what Salsa Boy did after he got the victory with Michael Bisping?
It's when he put the eye patch on.
Dude, he put the eye patch on and the red bandana to become a full pirate, and then he put this one on Michael Bisping as well. So they got a picture with Bisping and Salsa Boy rocking the eye patch. Obviously, if you guys know, you know. If you don't know, that's a jab at Tom Aspinall when he put the eye patch on after the eye poke. Just to give you guys a heads up, if you didn't know this, then one week after there was that eye poke, Salsa Boy got poked in the eye, but he did not quit. He kept fighting, and then he got the KO against Ante D'Elia, who's Tom Aspinall's boy, who a day before was lambasting Cyril Gahn for the eye poke, saying, man, I've had all these fights. I've never poked anybody in the eye. Next day, he pokes Salsa Boy in the eye. Salsa Boy keeps fighting, gets the knockout. I mean, what a story. This guy is on fire. In 2025, Justin, he's had 4 wins and 1 loss. He's had 5 fights, and he has to be on the December card to get 1 more fight, to get 6 fights before the end of the year. He's calling out Curtis Blades. Let me just turn it over to you. What's your feeling? What's your take on Salsa Boy right now in the heavyweight division?
I mean, anybody that can stay as active as he is, 5 fights in a year, looking for his 6th fight. I mean, fighting essentially once every other month, 4 wins, 1 loss. He comes in, he beats Curtis Blades. I mean, this guy is definitely in the mix, especially with how the heavyweight division is right now. Who really knows what's going to happen with, our champ with an eye injury coming out and all this shit talk. Man, I'd love to see him versus Curtis Blades. I mean, if he goes 5-1 in 1 year, I mean, it's almost undeniable for a title shot.
Yeah, if he beats Curtis Blades, he's got to just get slotted in there next. It has to happen, right? Like, you can't. He's undeniable at this point. And all the shenanigans and things that he's doing with the eye patch and the pirate thing, it's hilarious. This guy is on fire. Plus, he's got a crazy right hand. But I want to tell you something. Well, I found this out today listening to Ariel's show. Did you know that Salsa Boy, aka Cortez Acosta, he used to be a baseball player? I think he used to be a pitcher. Yeah,
man, good hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? You throw a punch like you throw a pitch, so it kind of makes sense. But he was actually, I don't think he ever made it fully to the major leagues, but he was apparently a decent baseball player. He was signed to one of the feeder leagues, or I don't know how it works in baseball. But anyways, I just thought that was an interesting fact that this guy is a pretty serious athlete all around. But anyways, we shall see how that goes down. Do you think, from what you've seen from Salsa Boy so far, I mean, maybe it's hard to see his full, complete picture of all his skill sets, but how do you think he fares against Tom Aspinall if he does fight him?
Tough to say, man. When you're talking about fighting, contenders and fighting the champion, I mean, that's that's vegetables and fruit, man. They're completely different. The challenge obviously would be much greater. I mean, you're talking about Tom Aspinall, who I think has 1 loss in the UFC when he got hurt, and then he has a draw on these undefeated with all these first round finishes. I mean, I think there's too much. There's too many unknowns right now to make a prediction on that matchup.
I just think it's so crazy that Salsa Boy 2 in this last victory, I don't know if you know this, but he came in on 72 hours notice, came in, got the victory, got the KO. He literally got 72 hours notice. Then he got on a 16-hour flight, flew out to Qatar, got the win, put on the pirate thing. I mean, like, the whole thing is absolutely insane. So, man, I don't know. It does seem like Tom Aspinall is maybe like the more well-rounded fighter and probably the better fighter overall. But I'm rooting for Salsa Boy. I'm rooting for him in whoever he fights next, against Curtis Blades, against whoever it may be. So I'm really rooting for him, and I think he's become a big fan favorite in the heavyweight division. Okay, we got to move on before you go to Gable Steveson. Guys, this guy is absolutely unstoppable. Let me show you the clip of his KO finish. He again took another fight so quick after that dirty boxing match, which was right around Halloween. What is it? November 24th. It's like 3 weeks later. He takes an MMA fight. Look how it goes down. Check this out. 25-second KO flatline. Woo! Dude, terrifying. So again, in the first 15 seconds, they it skipped past that, but he was getting touched up a little bit by this guy, Hein, maybe. So it was a little bit interesting. I'm like, oh my God, he's human. He's not just going in there and not getting touched once. So he did get touched a tiny bit, but then you saw him mix it in there, throw that kick, kind of move in. It looked like he was maybe faking a double leg, but then came up with the overhand left, it looked like, and then just delivered one shot to the chin and knocked him out. Justin, give us your thoughts.
I mean, I've given my thoughts 10,000 times. This guy has arguably the potential to be the greatest heavyweight or the greatest MMA fighter of all time. He's 2-0 in MMA. He's 1-0 in bare knuckle. He's doing the same thing he does in all his fights. 3 finishes. He has less than like a minute and a half of cage time right now, including his dirty boxing fight. This guy is the future of the heavyweight division, no doubt.
So I did something before the show because I'm looking at these finishes and I'm like, this guy is on another level. I think he's gonna clean out the heavyweight division. But then I cross compared his record to like Tom Aspinall's or some of the other big stars. What was their pro record and pro finishes like before they made it to the UFC early on? And it was pretty similar. Like, you see Tom Aspinall getting a ton of first-round finishes within a minute, within 2 minutes, not to Gable Stevenson's level where it's 15 seconds, 20 seconds like this, but it is kind of similar. So I guess what I wanted to ask you, Justin, since a lot of these big prospect fighters that now are coming to the UFC and are champs, if we compare, is there something that stands out to you about Gable Steveson that differentiates him even from the Tom Aspinalls when they are on the rise, or other fighters when they are even? I looked at Sergey Pavlovich on the rise, just starching people left and right in round one. Is there something big that stands out to you that tells you that no, Gable Steveson is going to be on another level than all these guys, even though they also had similar starts?
because he's winning and he's not even using his best attributes. That's the thing. Like, yeah,
Mm.
he took Peterson down, but regardless of that, he's standing in the pocket, he's banging, he has incredible power. He hasn't even had to use his wrestling yet. So what happens, if he starts losing in these striking exchanges, then he's going to go to his bread and butter, which is his wrestling. And I just think once you can see the complete MMA fighter that Gable Steveson is, this guy he's on a different level than everybody. I think. I mean, I think if he wanted to, he could join the UFC and have a title fight by the time he's 5-0.
That's so great. Wait, so what would you do if you're the UFC? Would you sign him immediately? Would you try and get him on a card in January, February? Like, what would your protocol be? Or would you let him still build the record, like 1 or 2 more fights?
I mean, he regardless of if he wants to fight once or twice more, great. If he doesn't, if he wants to go right to the UFC, but I want the UFC to groom him. I don't want them to throw him right into cell shot. Let's get some momentum. Let's see him get some big highlight level knockouts in the UFC, so we can have a great platform right now. Because if he gets signed to the UFC and he fights like a top 15 or top 25, okay, we have 2 videos of 2 regional shows that he looks great for MMA and not talking his dirty boxing. I say get to the UFC, get him some highlight reel knockouts, get some momentum behind him, and build this guy the right way, just like they've done like Paddy Pimblett, Sean O'Malley, and I think he has 10 times the star power than all these guys. I think anybody they put him up against, he's better than. They want to grow groom Sean O'Malley, this great striker. Didn't give him a lot of challenging fights until they had to, and I think they should take the same approach with Gable Steveson.
Yeah, and I think the thing about Gable Steveson too is that on top of his crazy accolades, his amazing fight IQ, like everything, he's got John Jones cornering him. He's got all these things going in his favor. But the thing is, he's got the personality. He's got the personality. You can see from his celebrations, the way he just lets loose. Like he's got that magnetic personality. He's great in interviews. He's himself. He's just got that full package. So it's very, very, very exciting. And on top of that, he's American. Like that's pretty cool too. It's going to be a return, right? People have been talking about how there's no American champs really right now, unless you include Merab. And then of course we do have Kayla Harrison on the women's side, but now we can have a return to somebody that like you must be a fan of, right? With the American wrestling credentials, the Olympic medal, all that stuff. He's all red, white, and blue. So it's pretty exciting. And on top of that, his fight style is so exciting. His punches, his boxing is crazy. Yeah, go ahead.
He's 25 years old too. People, when you look at him and how seasoned he looks, he doesn't like. When I look at him, I don't think this guy's a 25-year-old kid. Essentially, this guy looks like a mature adult. 28, 30, 32. But he's actually only 25 years of age.
Yeah, his birthday, I just checked. His birthday is May 31st, so it's coming up here. Yeah, so he's still got quite a time to be 25. I think it'd be really cool. I want to see him come in, debut, make his have a UFC fight. I think that would be such a fun fight. If I would have known that he was fighting, by the way, for this organization a little bit sooner, and it wasn't, I don't even know where it was, but I want to see him. If he does one more fight before the UFC, I'm going. I'm really gonna try and go wherever it is. It's South Dakota, Texas, like you name it. I'm gonna try and make it there. So we shall see. I see that Western is saying, "Hey, watch out for the copyright for that music." Yeah, that could be an issue. I should have muted it, but it is what it is. It was a short clip, so hopefully it should be okay. But we shall see. I hope I didn't screw that up. Okay, Justin, you just let me know when you got to go. But the next topic is
how many more topics? Oh, okay,
2 more, but you can bounce whenever if you got to go. Yeah,
sure. No, go ahead.
Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, guys. This is happening. Not only is it happening, we had the presser last Friday. Ariel Helwani was the host of that presser, and they kind of went back and forth. It's going down. Dude, Anthony Joshua, this guy is huge. If you look at the face-offs, I mean, literally Jake looking straight forward is looking into his chest. I've never seen that before. I mean, this guy is massive. He's terrifying. I like his attitude. I like the way he talks about positivity and negativity. Anthony Joshua is really, really cool. But yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. And I was giving Jake Paul a lot of credit, and I still give him a tremendous amount of credit. But now I'm starting to wonder, like, is this like just a overall, like, I get it. Jake Paul is not afraid of anything. He's willing to take on all challenges, like massive props, massive respect. But is this like actually sincerely a super dangerous thing that Jake Paul is doing? Like, I'm almost starting to get worried now when you see the size difference. And of course, like Anthony Joshua is Anthony Joshua. What do you think? Is Jake Paul treading on really dangerous territory?
I think it's a win-win for Jake Paul, man. He gets criticized for all his opponents that he handpicks and this and that, whether it's a senior citizen, whether it's an MMA fighter. Those are the biggest thing he's criticized for, and he cannot be criticized, win or lose after this. Yeah, even if he does get knocked out, I mean, he's going up against a world-class boxer that's way bigger than him. Like you said, when they squared up, Jake Paul's literally looking up at him, and you can see all the nervous energy. But hey, hats off to Jake Paul for taking on an incredible challenge, a monster of a man that knocked out Francis Ngannou. Win or lose, even if he gets knocked out, like, he's taking on an incredible challenge. He's daring to be great, and I respect him for it.
But Justin, with somebody like Anthony Joshua, that size, that power, and then you look at Jake Paul, who might, let's say he'll have like 20, 30 pounds less than Anthony Joshua. Are we getting into territory where the right shot, like a really heavy shot, might have long-standing negative impacts for Jake Paul? Like, that's what I'm starting to think about. I'm starting to think about, like, wait a minute, I get it. It's amazing. Massive props to Jake Paul. Like I said, from the whole time I have supported him, and I think his journey is epic. But, like, is this now just being too crazy, too wild, too dangerous?
I don't think so. I mean, it's boxing. He knows what he signed for. I mean, he's still early in his career. He's only like 13-1. He hasn't taken any incredible amount of damage. Yeah, I mean, could it hurt him? Of course it could. I mean, Anthony Joshua, look what he did to Francis Ngannou, man. That's just a risk you're willing to take, whether you're getting in there with anybody. I mean, Mike Tyson has incredible power too. Obviously, he's old, but early on in that fight, Mike Tyson still has power. That's the last thing to go is power, man. And Jake took him on and didn't take much damage going on. Obviously, yeah, he could take the damage, but for this early in his career, I think it's fine.
By the way, 10-7 is comment. He goes, Joshua should flatline Jake. If not, this is fake. He goes, it's almost like if me and Huzaifa fought. unfair
Damn,
for
like
him.
that.
Yeah, there you go, that's probably true. No, but yeah, I am actually getting excited for it. I am going to tune in. I was joking around in, I think it was like MMA Joey's live chat, saying I'm actually psyched. Like, don't be mad at me as an MMA purist that I'm actually excited for this fight, but I am excited. Here, I'm going to mute you, Justin, while you're talking. And so yeah, I am excited for this fight. I'm very curious to see how it goes down. And if Jake Paul somehow wins by some miracle, it's going to turn the sports and combat world upside down completely. It's going to be totally crazy. But I guess it seems like most people do not think that Jake Paul has any sort of chance. But yeah, I am excited. I'm going to check in. I am going to tune in. It's going to be pretty cool. So we shall see. Last topic, and Justin, if you got to pop off at any time, you just let me know. No worries. The last topic for today that I wanted to cover, I'm going to mute you. I'm going to mute you, Justin. The last topic that I wanted to cover today has to do with this story about Conor McGregor saying that he underwent psychedelic treatment and it was a way to deal with trauma. Now, as soon as I heard this, okay, especially when he went to Mexico, I have heard, I'm going to unmute you now. I have heard about these psychedelic treatments in Mexico, and I had a feeling. I was talking to Louisa this morning. I'm like, I bet you he did Ibogaine treatment. Now, Ibogaine treatment, yes, I'm sure it helps you deal with trauma. It makes you go on an entire spiritual journey and all these things. But I know about it because Ibogaine is actually I'm going to mute you again, Justin. Ibogaine is actually a treatment that is used to help people deal with severe drug addiction. So I've seen it. I saw a documentary on this years ago, and especially with opioid addiction. Now, there's never been any reports of Conor having opioid issues, but essentially with opioid addiction, right, the withdrawal process is like horrible. You're going to be like feeling like you have the worst flu of your life. I don't know exactly how long it lasts, if it lasts for days or weeks. I think it's just like days or whatever, but it's an extremely harsh withdrawal period. And Ibogaine apparently shocks the system, resets the nervous system. And this is according to the documentary. And people come out of it with no more physical symptoms. Now, the mental addiction will always stay there because you're always going to remember those times, what it's like to feel intoxicated. You're going to still think about it. You're going to remember those times. So that's going to draw you back. But the physical withdrawal symptoms are immediately gone. So, Justin, let me turn it over to you. Now, I think that's why he's saying he was dealing with trauma. I think this was it was his last-ditch effort to deal with whatever substance abuse issues that he still had lingering, and he's come away now with a renewed soul, a renewed mind, as he says in his own words. Justin, what is your take on this Ibogaine treatment? And do you agree that with me that it probably has something to do with substance abuse?
Yeah, man. I mean, he does, and I don't know. This might just be a ploy to say, hey, look, I'm doing the right thing to keep him relevant, because obviously you see, let's just wait and see, because, if we see some videos of him going crazy or his interviews where he's clenching his teeth, like, he's going really fast. I mean, this could just be a ploy just to keep him relevant in the public's eye and to get us excited. Hey, look, he's doing the right things to clean up. And, time's the only thing that'll tell. when it comes to this. I mean, congratulations if he did go and do this, and I hope he's having some good peace from it. But the only thing that's going to be for sure is time will tell.
All right, Justin, I am going to mute you again because the audio is getting a little dicey, and it's okay if you got to go, but you can stay on if you want. I'm just going to mute you and for the background noise and different things. Okay, so Western says maybe it was an ayahuasca treatment. No, it said on an Instagram post that it was indeed ibogaine. So I looked it up. That is the case. And here, I got this picture here. I just uploaded it. Let me show it to you guys right here, and I'm gonna share this, and we can read this together and talk about it. But yeah, I do think it was ibogaine, not ayahuasca. That's another a second. I mean, I know all about ayahuasca retreats and whatnot, but I believe it was ibogaine. So check this out. It says in this post from Conor, I was shown the light. Jesus descended from the white marble steps of heaven and anointed me with a crown. So maybe I had like an out-of-body experience while he was on this substance. My brain, my heart, my soul healed. I was 36 hours under before I finally rested. When I woke, I was me again. The most enlightening and enchanting experience I've ever undertaken. This treatment is worth its weight in gold. It's very, very tough, but it absolutely saved my life and in turn saved my family. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for all your inspiration, motivation, encouragement, well wishes, support, and most importantly, your prayers. They worked. And then I am my child again, but this time with the knowledge of my adult. Wow, it's like reset him, it sounds like. Baby, we did it. The world is in for a treat. To God, I am yours. Thank you for bestowing upon me this incredible blessing that I take with great care and absolute seriousness. I live my life for your word and nothing more. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow, your great grandson, Conor McGregor. I mean, that's actually pretty cool. That's pretty inspiring. Like I said, whether it was truly to deal with trauma, whether it was to deal with some lingering addiction issues, whether it was some combination thereof, holy smokes, like, look, I know Conor's got his fans. He's got his haters. At the end of the day, as a fight fan, we have to admit that Conor is still one of the most exciting names in this sport. And if he does come back, I think whatever happens, it's going to be a treat for MMA fans. We want to see how the story ends. I want to know how his leg holds up. I want to know how he can still hang in there. I want to know if he gives it his all, right? Now off of all the drugs, off of all the crazy demons that were haunting him. I want to know if he sits down and has a serious training camp, what Conor McGregor is going to look like when he shows up at the White House card against Michael Chandler or whoever it may be. I want to know the answers to all these questions. So to me, this is a great ending. I want to see this. And I'm happy he's actually taking these serious steps. Like when I watched this documentary on ibogaine treatment, this is not a walk in the park. And in fact, it's a traumatizing experience. It's a very painful and difficult experience. As he's mentioned, people, they sometimes like lock them in a room and they're tripping out. They want to leave. They want to escape. I mean, it's almost like it unlocks all these demons that you're having to deal with and fight at the same time. And then eventually when you come out, you're at peace. But like I said, that process is fraught with obstacles and danger and sadness and emotional unrest. So I have to give him major props because he could have easily just kept living the life he's living. He could have easily kept binging, kept partying, kept doing all these things, but he is serious about this. And I think that's something to be recognized. And honestly, as an MMA fan, like we should have some gratitude for that. Say what you will about Conor McGregor, but we should have some gratitude for the fact that he's willing to put himself through and endure these challenges so he can come back and give us a show at the White House. That's the way that I'm interpreting it. So there's no negativity here that I have to shed on this. I think it's all positive. I think the ibogaine treatment sounds like it was a success, and he's going to come back. The beauty of this is if he just did it, right? Or if anybody just does it, and then you return, maybe like there could still be those mental temptations. As I said, the physical withdrawal goes away, but the temptations might be there. But the beauty of the timing of this is he's done the treatment while on the road, while on the lead up to theoretically having a fight. So I do believe that the fight camp and the goal of this pursuit is going to keep him on the straight and narrow. So we're going to see a continual improvement in Conor McGregor's health, his demeanor, his personality, which we already saw at the BKFC press conference. So I think we're in for a treat, and I think we're on the road to recovery. And it's exciting. We got a lot of exciting stuff going down here in the world of mixed martial arts, in the UFC and beyond. So that's all we got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments, too, if you guys want us to start the show a little bit earlier. I'm thinking about that now because it just feels like we have so little time with Justin. So maybe we'll see if we can start the show going forward at 1:15 until he's done with wrestling. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, what you guys want to see from us, and we can take it from there. That's all I got for you today on this Monday. thank you everybody for joining. Thank you for the comments. Toronto, I missed that. Toronto also says Process versus Morales is another fight at 170. Oh my God, that'd be amazing. That'd be so fascinating. Yes, I'm with you. And we shall see how it goes down. Thank you guys so much for joining. We'll see you in the next episode. Take it easy.